What's up, guys? A couple of you spotted this knife in other videos, the Microtech SF. A lot of people call it the Select Fire, and that's a good name for it because some models are able to be manipulated by thumb, or they have a button which you can press. But Kershaw actually trademarked a knife called the Select Fire, so Microtech cannot legally call this the Select Fire. It has to be the SF. So just wanted you guys to know that. Nice knife, ground super thin at the cutting edge. It's the thinnest knife I own at the cutting edge. Look at that. I mean, it is ridiculously thin. So it should cut really well. I'm excited to see how it performs. And it's just another notch under the belt loop, or another notch on the belt for S35VN testing. So let's go ahead and get to it. It's going to be same deal, roughly 9 feet of 3/8 inch sisal rope. Same format. Sorry about that. This is the stock edge, actually. Microtechs come sharp as piss. They come really super redneck sharp. I stropped this and that's it. I estimate the edge just by feeling it is around, maybe they put the edge on with like a 240 grit belt and then buffed it. I mean, it has a lot of bite to it. A lot of bite. But yeah, this is stock edge. Cuts like a champ. So we'll just go ahead and get to it. Curious to see if the S35VN performs the same way in this knife. It's just ridiculously easy to cut through this rope with this knife. It is easier than the Socom, but not that much. The Socom cuts extremely well. This thing does too. It's a little bit better, but it's not that drastic. Always after the first few cuts, make a test cut. Looking good so far. It's a really comfortable knife. It looks uncomfortable, but it's not. It's one of those knives like the SMF where you look at it and it looks super uncomfortable, and then you hold it and you're like, wow, that feels really good. A little bit surprising, but the Socom Elite actually push cuts a little better. I don't know if it's the ergonomics allowing me to get more grip on the Socom, but it definitely push cuts better. Got kind of a nick in the edge, which is to be expected. I didn't expect this knife to perform as well as the Socom Elite, just based on how thin it is behind the edge. But I did want to do this test to kind of debunk the theory that, well, the Sebenza is just too thin to be stable with S35VN. The Sebenza at the cutting edge is much thicker than this knife, and it completely warped. So if this knife doesn't, then it's just a little bit more evidence to say that the steels ran too soft. The knife's still cutting really well. Still cutting really clean. I mean, it's got one little nick, but that catches maybe 1 out of every 5 cuts. So still really clean. After cutting with it a little more, I want to retract my statement. The Socom Elite actually cuts better than this knife. Again, this is a stock edge and it looks to be fairly obtuse. I'd estimate it around 45. That's just eyeballing it though. Looks to be a really obtuse edge, so that may have something to do with it. See those catches there? It definitely has some edge damage, but it's still able to slice cleanly. So far, the Socom Elite with S35VN is outperforming this, and the 20CV version is most definitely outperforming this. But it's still no slouch. And this one was made in September 2011. Absolutely hate this rope getting everywhere. It gets everywhere. I'm gonna do a review on this knife pretty soon, but it's a really cool knife. It just looks so different and so futuristic. It's very like Tron. I can imagine like the dude in Tron carrying this. Dulling pretty substantially right now. Still slices though. But you see it catching. If I kind of walk it through, it'll get through cleanly. If I push cut, it catches like you saw, but if I kind of walk it through a slice, then it's able to get through with ease. But as soon as I start putting some push cut into it, then it messes up. I may need to retest this knife with one of my edges on it, a thinner edge. So far though, the Socom Elite and S35VN is leaps and bounds ahead of this, and since they're both Microtechs and they were both made in the same month, I think Alex can let me know. It does appear that a thin edge is much less stable with this steel, so it's something that needs a kind of some meat behind the cutting edge. I don't have a micrometer, so I can't measure it, but I may get one. I mean, I just wish you guys could feel how thin this knife is. But it's still not sustaining any damage, not even close to the Sebenza. As you can see, it's still slicing, but it's not great. Not great at all. Looking at the edge, I see some nicks, some blunting, and some rolling. So far, if you're looking for performance in S35VN, go Socom. If you're looking for just something different, then this is awesome. go ahead and finish it out. Last cut. Alright, there we go. No hot spots. It's a comfortable knife. Really comfortable. In this grip, if you grip real hard, then the clip can kind of dig into you. But you would have to put an extremely large amount of force for that to really bug you. As you can see, it's pretty dull. Pretty dull. Not cutting cleanly even when it does cut. So, I mean, this is a testament to how much geometry plays a part in edge retention. I kind of look at it as a trifecta. Edge retention is highly reliant on steel, heat treat, and geometry. And those three things combined can either make a knife that performs like this, or make a knife that performs like the Socom did. Even with the exact same steel and heat treat, the Socom outperformed this just based on geometry alone. This knife is just ground way too thin to be able to withstand use like this and still keep its razor edge. The Socom did exceptionally well because it is beefy behind the edge. It has a lot of meat behind the edge, making it strong, essentially. Let me steel this edge and see what we have. See what we can do after we run it on a ceramic. Let's just do 2 swipes. Not great, but it's cuts now. I mean, at least it does cut. I think we can use, let's do some edge leading. See what we have now. Much better. Much, much, much better. That's a push cut. So yeah, if you're going with Microtech and edge retention is something that's really important to you, then definitely pick up the Socom Elite. If you're just wanting a cool knife that still performs really well, then I would get the SF. So that's my verdict. Good knife, but the edge retention isn't what the Socom is. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for tolerating all these hundreds, it seems like, of cut tests. I think I'm at like 30 knives or something, maybe more than that. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.